Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm training with two local players here in Copenhagen, Denmark. Andreas there in all black, and then Casper in the navy blue. And that's me there with the hat on getting warmed up. Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is where I built my website, 7mlctraining.com. And from websites to analytics to marketing tools, they're the all-in-one place to grow your online presence and manage your business. So we started with a warm-up passing exercise, just working in this square. So you play the pass, and then you get to the open corner. So as you can see, there's always one open corner because there's three of us. And after you've played the pass, your goal is to get there quickly to receive the next ball. So this is a great way to warm up physically and technically. You'll notice you do get quite a good heart rate increase with this exercise, and also those sharp touches. It's a short distance, maybe 4 steps in between the cones there. And we're really fizzing them along the ground just to test each other's touch, because today is all about technical ability, working on a variety of first touches. So we're starting simple before we get into some more advanced exercises. After we've gone through with our right foot passing, left foot touch, we do the opposite. So now we're receiving the ball on our right foot and playing it with our left, just getting a rhythm going, making sure we're getting touches with both feet. Then we went into the first of our individual work. So the two players on the outside are feeding the ball, and the player in the middle of the 3 cones is the one working. So as you can see, all I'm doing, a slight checking movement, receiving the ball with my back foot, then playing it with my front foot again. Trying to minimize the bobbles, get a clean first touch, and punch in those firm passes. We each went through this exercise for 10 repetitions, so 5 on each foot. Anytime you're doing technical work, it's really important to get an equal amount of repetitions on both feet. Being ambidextrous, especially with passing and receiving, is so important. It's going to serve you so much during a match. And if you're not, you're going to be so limited in what you can do. So when it comes to the fundamentals, really important to have an equal amount of strength in your right and left foot. Then we went into the second exercise. So as you can see here, we play the pass, then we check towards the player to receive another pass, and then we lay it off, check back into the space, receive it with our back foot, and play with our front foot. So the purpose of this exercise is to differentiate the weight of your first touch. So as you're checking towards the ball, it's a lighter touch back to your partner to give you time to check into the space and allow them to accelerate onto the ball and punch it into your path. And then that next pass you play after you receive it with your back foot is a bit firmer. So notice the difference here between the layoff touch and when we're punching it into our partner's feet. So lay off, back it up, receive it with the back foot, and play with the front foot, nice and firm. Again, for all of these variations, we went through 10 repetitions total each, making sure we're getting an equal amount of repetitions on both feet. So the plan for today's exercises, these are all a part of our warm-up, just getting our technical foundation down, and then we're going to go into some exercises that challenge the first touch, but also challenge the mind. So there's going to be some patterns, some different variations that are going to get quite complicated, but the whole purpose of them is to give you many solutions during a match that you can rely on, adjusting your feet, being able to get out of trouble, receive the ball in tight spaces. So all of the exercises you'll see throughout today's sessions are really going to help you with that. So the third variation of our warm-up here, as you can see, we're receiving the ball, laying it back to our partner, and now we're receiving it with the back foot, but we're taking that Tony Cruz touch across the body. So we let it come across the body, and then we hook it back with the inside of our foot past the cone, and it's a little reverse pass to the next player. Really good deceptive move that you can use, especially for you central midfielders out there. After you're receiving the ball, maybe from your other central midfielder or a winger, and you have a defender tight to you, if you act like you're going to take it across your body, then at the very last second, hook it back into the space, it can be really deceptive. It's almost like a body feint, and a lot of defenders will bite on that movement, and you'll have a little bit more time and space to make a pass. So work on these types of exercises in your own sessions. Try to work on some of that deceptiveness with your hips, trying to make it really seem like you're going to take the ball in one direction before taking it in the other. The more you can replicate this in your training sessions, the more natural it's going to feel in a match when you have pressure on you. Then we worked on a final variation. We're all involved in this one, but the player in the middle is still doing a little bit of movement. So as you can see, it's a little setback, then it's a 1-2 around the cone, another layoff, then you receive the ball on the other side. So this one's a bit more dynamic. Try and go a bit quicker with this one, get those small touches in. As you can see, the distance between the players is a bit smaller because I'm really checking in close to receive it. So try and work on those quick touches working on your weight of touch so you're not stitching your partner and hitting it too firm so that it breaks down the drill. But try and make sure you're calm with the ball, get a light touch to set it to your partner so they can step into the next pass. We each went through this one for another 10 repetitions each, and that warmed us up nicely, both physically and technically, getting hundreds of touches even in just that warm-up. So even though it's still considered a part of the warm-up, this is great technical work that you can do by yourself with a partner to get cleaner on the ball and make sure those touches and passes are a lot cleaner. So after we're going through all of these exercises, then we move into what I consider to be the main portion of today's session. But it's really important that you go into the main portion of your session ready to go at 100%. There's no point going into the main bulk of your session, still warming up, still not feeling technically sharp, because you're not going to be as efficient and you're not going to get as much out of the training session as you would if you were fully warmed up, both technically and physically. There is a technical component to getting warmed up, getting familiar with the ball once again, feeling the weight of the ball in the conditions. That's really going to be important for making sure you're as clean and efficient on the ball as you possibly can be. So these are the final few reps of our warm-up, and then we went straight into the main component of today's session. So we're working in this box here. So as you can see, the first variation, we're receiving 2 bounce passes inside the box. Then we move outside the box to receive another pass, receiving it with our back foot. Then we play the wall. Then it's a first time pass to the partner we received the ball from in the beginning. And then we take a turn. So we receive the ball, 180-degree turn, play our opposite partner, and then we receive the ball on the opposite side to do the exact same pattern, just to make sure we're getting an equal amount of repetitions on both feet and receiving it from different angles. So these kind of exercises are really good for making you adjust your feet so that you can receive the ball and also play those quick passes. So making sure you're using all the different surface areas of both feet so you can be efficient. Sometimes you might have to play it with the outside of your foot. Sometimes you might have to play it with the opposite foot to what you wanted to receive it to. Always adjusting and being ready to react to any ball that comes your way. So this is the easiest of the 2 variations that we did, but as you can see, still a lot of components involved in this one. I would say this has a cognitive element, having to memorize the patterns, knowing where to play your next pass. This is all excellent work for footballers, because footballers not only need to be physically fit and technically sharp, but you also need to have a good football IQ. And a lot of that is about memorizing patterns, understanding space, understanding where you're going to play your next pass. So these types of exercises give you tons and tons of solutions so that when you're in a match situation, you've been through so many different scenarios in your training that you know how to respond to each individual scenario. You can use all the different surface areas of both feet. You're comfortable receiving the ball in tight spaces, and you can be effective keeping the ball for your teammates. So we each went through that first variation, twice through each, and then we moved into the second variation. So as you can see, we're playing the pass straight away this time, then we get outside the box to receive the ball with our back foot, play a diagonal pass to the opposite player. They play the ball into the middle of the square, so first time pass to the wall, and then you're playing it back to the partner who you originally received the ball from. And then it's a 180 turn, and then receiving the ball from the opposite side so that you can repeat the pattern in both directions. Even though this pattern might look very similar to the first variation we did, these slight adjustments are really good for challenging the mind, because once you've gone through a few repetitions of one drill and you've gotten used to it, you start to program your mind to recognize that pattern so that when you change the pattern all over again, even if it's just a subtle change, it's quite difficult for your brain to reprogram quickly. So you'll find yourself at first wanting to do some of the similar actions that you did in the first variation. So you're working against your mind here to find the new solution so that you can continue on with the second variation. But these patterns are a lot of fun and you're getting a lot of work moving at all times, so it's very intense. Even after just doing 10 repetitions or so, you'll feel the lactic acid in your legs building up, and they're just a great way to challenge yourself physically, technically, but also cognitively. Again, we went through the second variation 2 times through each for about 10 repetitions per set. So even though we're only about 40 minutes into the session, we've accomplished thousands of touches each. And every single time you touch the ball, you're just strengthening that connection, making the touch a little bit cleaner. So getting these repetitions and hundreds and thousands of touches in a short space of time is just going to serve you so much better on the pitch. Even though you wouldn't be touching the ball this often during a match, you might get a maximum of 40 to 50 touches depending on what position that you play. It just allows for each of those touches you do get to be slightly cleaner and slightly more effective, so you can have more impact in a match and be a more valuable player for your team. And then we went into the small 1v1 drill. This is an idea I originally got from Matt Sheldon from Become Elite, but this is a great activity that doesn't require much space, and you don't need many players to make it competitive. You could do it with just one other player, or in this case, we've got 2 other players, but you could do this with 5 and have a good competition with it and see who comes out on top. So there's 3 gates. The 2 gates on the outside are worth 1 point if you get through, and the gate in the middle is worth 2 because it's more difficult to get through. And you can play it how you want. I like to do 3 rounds, first to 10 per round, and that just keeps it competitive, gives you some incentive to defend well, to attack well, and it's just a great way to work on receiving the ball in a very high pressure situation that's over in just a few seconds. So you can perform a quick body feint, a quick action with your feet to try and get past the player, and then the goal is to accelerate through the gate as quickly as you can. Sometimes you might take a bad touch or receive an awkward pass, so then you have to work on shielding the ball as well, which is a great skill to have, especially if you're a central midfielder. You're surrounded by players all the time, so having the ability to shield the ball is going to be a really effective skill. So try this one out with your teammates and make it a bit of a competition. You'll have a lot of fun with it. The goal is not to, of course, injure one another, so I'd say we're probably going at about 80% pressure. We're not going studs up. We're not putting our life on the line trying to defend the ball. Obviously, when you're in a match situation, the stakes are higher, so you're not going to be letting players get by you. But we decided in these drills, for the sake of reducing injury risk, all of us have matches in the week, so we don't want to be in a situation where we're injured and not playing. Obviously, put pressure on your teammates, make it very difficult for them to get through the gates. You want to make them better at attacking with the ball, and you also want to work on your defending ability, moving your feet, but make sure you're doing it correctly with good technique and not going in to hurt your teammates. So we went through 3 rounds of this, and you'll find it's very intense because you're in that low center of gravity for a long extended period of time. It's almost like being in a squat position, so you'll build up a lot of lactic acid in the legs, and you'll find this to be very tiring, even though it's just in a small space. So all in all, today's session was about an hour and a half. And in those 90 minutes, we probably got at least 2,000 to 3,000 touches each. So really improving our quality on the ball, even if it's just by 0.5%, that's going to accumulate over time, and you're going to find yourself feeling a lot more confident on the ball. And even though it's just the 3 of us, we still found ways to put ourselves in situations that challenge the mind, make it competitive and reactive, so that we're not only improving our technical ability, but we're improving it under some pressure, which is really important. If you only train with no pressure all the time, when it comes to a match situation and you're against other players, you can become nervous, not know how to react, and you might find yourself not performing as well as you have been in your individual sessions. I get this question quite a lot here on the channel. I'm brilliant in training sessions, but when it comes to a match, everything I've been working on doesn't seem to be effective, and that's because you need to be training in pressure situations in addition to your individual technical work. I also get asked which is better, team training or individual training, and it really is a combination of both. In your individual sessions, you're getting so many more touches than you would do in a team training session, so you're able to sharpen up your skills and improve your technical ability. But the benefits of being in a match situation is learning how to use those skills under pressure. So make sure you're getting individual training and team or small group sessions in your weekly training schedule, and that's going to be the best recipe for developing you as a footballer. So as we're going through the last few 1v1 reps, a quick question. I want to see if you can guess what position Casper and Andreas play. Andreas in the black and Casper in the navy blue. Casper plays for B93, very big club here in Copenhagen, and Andreas has been playing just outside of Copenhagen in Denmark and has just returned recently to find a new club. Let me know in the comment section down below. So that's it for today's session. I hope you enjoyed it and took away a bunch of exercises that you can do with your teammates to improve your technical ability to be more confident on the ball. And just before I go, I want to say another huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace is where I built my website, 7mlctraining.com. It's become the central hub of my entire brand, allows me to put everything 7MLC training related in one place, from my blog posts to my podcast, as well as my very own 7-day training programs. You can find links to those in the description box down below. But if you've ever considered building a website and you don't know where to start, make sure you check out Squarespace. They make it so easy to build a professional looking website that represents you or your brand in the best way possible with all their tools and templates so that you can make your visions come to life today. And if you use the link in my description, www.squarespace.com/7mlc, you can get 10% off your first website. But if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you smash the like button, hit that subscribe button for weekly training videos, and I will see you guys in my next video.